So in this video, I will tell you about a special mindfulness for sex specifically. And that is because it is your most powerful sexual technique, more powerful than any physical technique. With this technique, you can enhance and magnify every sensation in sex, in every moment of sex, whatever you're doing. You can discover whole new ranges of things you haven't felt before and develop your sensitivity to sexual energy so you can feel a lot more. You're going to find it much more easy to get turned on. You will feel a lot more richness in each moment, and sex overall is going to be a lot more nourishing and enriching for you. You will just take more from it. But mindfulness in sex is quite special. It's not like any other generic mindfulness because it is sex, and to use it as a sexual technique, you need to practice it in quite a particular way. So I'm going to give you today my special recipe that I have developed over 20 years of teaching holistic sex, so that you can enhance everything with the power of your mind and do less and feel more. So I have been teaching advanced holistic sexuality for the last 20 years. And I don't normally use the word mindfulness in sex because I kind of feel like it sounds a bit too much like a practice, and in sex we just want to enjoy it. So I normally just say that it is your skill of listening to sexual energy, to sexual sensations. You just really want to listen to them so well that you really enjoy them and you really take them in. So we have this perspective in our culture that basically you feel what you are given. So your body is touched and that is what you feel. And that is actually not quite true. What you feel is what you take in. You have a lot of influence over what you actually feel. You could be getting a fantastic technique but not feeling much from it, and vice versa. You could be getting an okay technique but feel really amazing things from it. So actually listening to your sensations in sex is a skill, and it is a technique that you learn and you practice and you get better at, in the same way as meditation is a technique, or visualization is a technique, or mental tools in sports are a technique. So in our culture we normally think about sexual techniques as just physical techniques, where to touch and in what direction and how fast and how hard. But actually the most powerful techniques in sex are mental, emotional techniques, and if we master them, we have the greatest impact with them. So when you have a really good skill of listening to your sensations, you are having a double action there. So first, when you are listening to your sensations, you are literally magnifying them and enhancing them. The sound is amplified, there are more pixels, there is more detail. So you can literally make those sensations and feelings and sexual energy grow in your body. And on the other hand, we often have a lot of mental noise during sex. So it could be some, mental activity about the sex itself, what we should do, how we look and whatever. Or it could be just, something distracting about work, etc. So that mental noise acts like a fog through which we can't really receive the sensations very well. So when you have a good listening technique, then you are reducing and kind of clearing that cloud, that noise. And that cloud becomes a lot more thin or disappears completely. And then the sensations are streaming in much more clearly. And at the same time, you are enhancing them and magnifying them and making them grow, and that is why it is so powerful. So the outcome of that is that you become so much more sensitive to everything that is happening. You feel a lot more detail, a lot more levels, a lot more dimensions to each sensation, to the layers of it. You start feeling things you haven't felt before because they were kind of below your sensitivity. You start feeling pure energy sometimes. Your range expands, you go into the infrared and ultraviolet, so to speak, metaphorically. You just have to do a lot less physically to feel more richness. And with just a little bit more physically, you feel a lot more intensity. And also over time, you become a lot more sensitive, a lot more responsive in your body. And that means that, everything is easier for you in sex. Getting aroused is a lot easier. Being kind of enriched by sex, enjoying sex is a lot easier. So that means you don't need so much time, you don't need so much energy, you get a lot out of sex. And that just makes your sex life a lot more easy as well. And you're taking in that sexual energy so much better into yourself that you have much more of that kind of nourishing and enriching effect from it. So this is something we often hear in neuroscience, that for us to experience a transformation, in our brain, we really need to take in a blissful experience, like really deeply. So that's essentially what you're doing. You're really taking it in really thoroughly, and it's a very blissful experience. So you're kind of like having a mini transformation every time you're having sex, because it is so powerful when you're using this technique and the sex is really good. So that's why sex with a good kind of listening technique has such a profound well-being effect. I also have a free course for you called Transform Your Sex Now. It gives you some key lessons to change your sex life right now, today, and immediately bring more richness, nourishing energy, love, and connection into your sex right now. The link is below the video in the description. Go and download it. It is completely free for you. So for a good technique to listen to your sexual sensations, there are two components. The first one is going to be quite familiar to you, but it's the second one that's more interesting. So the first component is attention, just being really kind of there, attentive to each sensation. So you want to create a space in your life, essentially, where you're telling yourself that you're going into this world of really beautiful and nourishing energy, and it's really important that you're there filling up with it, and everything else can wait. And then I wouldn't recommend, kind of the typical advice of just being present to everything, because that sounds a bit abstract and neutral. I want you to listen to each sensation like music. It's the most similar experience that we have in any other area of life. So just feel your body as a space, as an empty space, where every touch, every sensation is like a vibration of that music, a sound of music. And you're trying to really listen to that music, to really kind of make out every detail, every sound about it. And I'll give you a couple of useful tips here. First of all, don't try to feel something exciting, because excitement is just part of that whole range of feelings, and it's quite limiting when that is the only thing you're looking for. Enjoy everything for feeling in some way beautiful and nourishing and enriching in some way. In fact, focus on being nourished, not excited, because it's a much more broad feeling that includes a lot of different feelings into it, and then you're going to be a lot more attentive to everything that is going on. And the other tip is, don't be so attached to intensity. We always want to feel something intense, and we feel frustrated when we don't. Don't judge feelings by how strong they are, how intense they are. Appreciate them for how beautiful they are, and then you will feel that things can feel beautiful in many different ways, and they don't need to be strong. They can be quite soft, quite gentle, but still very enriching. And that again really opens up your sensitivity, and you're going to feel a lot more range of feelings. And another thing I would say is that normally in the practices of mindfulness, you are encouraged to notice all your feelings, all the feelings that arise, all your kind of fears and anxieties and emotions and things like this. So it might sound a little bit controversial, but I actually wouldn't recommend you to do that. I would recommend you to listen to this moment in a different way, because it's quite easy to get trapped in all this, your own feelings and, all the kind of historical stuff and your own mental noise and everything. I want you to really focus only on the energy that's flowing into your body, this beautiful, nourishing substance, this, source that you're exposed to. And all other stuff doesn't matter. It might be useful to do mindfulness on that other stuff some other time in some other practice, but here you are just here to drink from this energy. Listen only to that, give all your attention to that, ignore everything else, and just take it in, because this is not a meditation, this is sex, this is lovemaking. And the second component is a bit more interesting, and this is where it is different from a lot of other mindfulness practices. You have to listen really kind of emotionally to every moment. It is not a neutral observation, because this is sex. It's a very subjective experience that you really want. You're really passionate about it, and you really want to drink it in and to enjoy it. So you're actually really thirsty. You really want it. You need to really want it and not just observe it. Want to inhale it, to be nourished by it, to bathe in it. And when you're listening to sensations, understand that they are not just physical pleasure, but they make an impact on your feelings. They bring that nourishment, that happiness, that joy, that beauty. Again, it's very similar to listening to music. You're not just listening to an airwave going into your ear. You're listening to the impact, to the feeling that that sound brings. So you need to listen in the same way to the sensations, not just a feeling of a physical sensation in your body, but listen to the impact that this sensation feels beautiful, like a beautiful vibration in you. It's a happy vibration. It's a nourishing vibration. It's an enriching vibration. Listen to all those feelings it is bringing. So these are the two components. You are really listening to each vibration, every detail of it, every drop of it, and you listen to this impact it is making on you, this nourishing, happy impact. And I normally summarize this by saying that all you're doing in sex is you're inhaling vibrations of happiness. Just focus on that. Inhale vibrations of happiness in every moment. Now, of course, just listening is not enough. The physical technique also needs to be good. Otherwise, if the physical technique is rubbish, then all you're doing is you are enhancing the rubbish, and it's quite difficult to get on with that. So it is a combination. The physical technique is good, and then you're also enhancing it really well with your mindfulness, with your attention. If you want more advice on the physical technique, you can check out my online courses. I teach absolutely everything. It's very comprehensive. And the last and really important advice I will give you, don't do some kind of practice. Just enjoy and love being in that field of sexual energy. Don't try to do some kind of a spiritual practice. Do not try to have an empty head. It never works. You are not here to have an empty head. You are not here to be really good at it. You are here to be enriched by the sexual energy. It is here, it is nourishing you. Just be there because you really love it, and you're listening to it, not to be good at it, but because you really love it, you really love how it feels. You want to be enriched by it. So it doesn't matter. You have noise in your head, that's fine. You can listen through that noise and you can still take in a lot. You can't be present all the time, that's fine. You can still take in quite a lot of it. You are not supposed to be good at it. It is there for you. It is there to nourish you just as you are. So just relax, don't be good at it. Just take in as much as you can of this beautiful source. So go ahead and enjoy that new world that will open up to you.